Hey guys, Abby here. How are you guys doing? Today we are going to hopefully answer that age old question, or maybe just explore it a little. To swallow or not to swallow? So, we're talking about that taboo topic that everyone is always so curious about. Everyone has their own personal opinion about it. Um, and you never get a really direct answer. Um, we are going to talk about whether it's just personal preference, if it's a matter of intimacy or cultural conditioning, um, or is there something more to it um, besides all of that? Um, a little bit of the science behind it. There's some good reasons to swallow, and there's some not so good reasons to swallow. So, we're going to dive into a little bit of research on the topic with both the positive and negative effects of swallowing semen on the woman's body. So, shall we get into it? Um, Before we get in, please be sure to keep an open and curious mind. Um, this is a complex subject. So, here we go. So, what is in semen actually? It is only 5 to 10% spermatozoa, believe it or not. The other 90 to 95% of this complex fluid is called seminal plasma. It's a cocktail of fructose giving sperm energy to swim. Next, there's proteins and enzymes that have several jobs, like protecting the sperm from the acidic environment of the female reproductive tract and to manage the consistency of the fluid itself, allowing the sperm to move freely and when the time is right, get to where it's going. It is also packed, believe it or not, with essential minerals and vitamins like zinc, which is crucial for sperm health and DNA stability, as well as vitamin C and B12, which also act as antioxidants to support the cellular function. Pretty interesting, huh? So, some of you may not know this, and I found this to be interesting. Semen also contains numerous amounts of hormones and mood altering neurochemicals that are identical to the ones that help us regulate our own emotions, stress levels, and feelings of well being, such as cortisol, the body's primary stress hormone, which helps the body with inflammation and regulating the immune system. Next, there is melatonin, which is commonly known as the sleep hormone. It is the chemical that our brain releases to regulate our circadian rhythms and tell your body when it's time to rest. Then there's serotonin, one of the most famous neurotransmitters in our brain. Serotonin is often called the feel-good chemical because of its profound impact on mood, happiness, and feelings of contentment. Semen also contains oxytocin, known as the love or bonding hormone. This powerful chemical fosters feelings of trust, intimacy, and social connection. It's the same hormone released when hugging, childbirth, and breastfeeding, thus playing a critical role in forming deep emotional bonds. Who knew that sperm was so complex? I certainly didn't. So, what happens when semen is introduced to an entirely different part of the body, like the digestive tract? Suddenly, all these components aren't just supporting the sperm, they're, believe it or not, absorbed into the bloodstream and can affect our bodies in different ways. Off label effects that have nothing to do with baby making. Rather, everything to do with the chemistry of the woman who ingests them. This is where the potential benefits and hidden risks truly lie. Surprisingly, there are some positive effects on the woman's body and mind as well. Keeping in mind that these aren't guaranteed outcomes, but rather scientifically observed correlations and hypotheses. The most widely cited and debated potential benefit, keep in mind that word potential, is its proposed antidepressant effect. In 2002, a University of Albany study showed that women who didn't use condoms and were exposed directly to their partner's semen showed significantly fewer depressive symptoms and demonstrated overall higher levels of happiness compared to those who did use condoms. Pretty interesting, huh? The theory being that the oxytocin, serotonin, and other endorphins are absorbed through the lining of the digestive tract and into the bloodstream. Once circulating through the body, these hormones and neurotransmitters can exert a systemic antidepressant-like influence, contributing to a greater sense of well-being. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. Get it out of your head. One of the most profound benefits found is related to the immune system and pregnancy, which this is kind of pretty cool, I think. This concept is called immunological tolerance. The woman's immune system is designed to recognize and attack foreign invaders. From a biological standpoint, a fetus is a foreign entity, as half of its genetic material comes from the father. In some cases, the mother's immune system can have an aggressive reaction, which is one of the most dangerous examples of this is preeclampsia, if you've ever heard of that, which is a serious pregnancy complication called high blood pressure. And it is linked and thought to be an adverse maternal immune response to the paternal genes within the placenta. However, studies have shown that long-term exposure to a partner's semen can help build up a tolerance. The thought being that the woman's body being introduced to their specific partner's proteins and DNA over time, her immune system gradually learns to recognize this genetic material as safe rather than a threat to be attacked. This correlation that ingesting the semen orally is kind of a natural immunization, preparing the body for a healthy pregnancy. Those of you trying for children, don't think that that's the only way. Anyway, now keep in mind these are all hypotheses and studies that I've read. So, yeah, you guys, I'm no doctor. I've said it a million times. I am not a doctor. I'm not a physician. I'm not a psychiatrist. Um, so, don't take my word for it. Don't hold this for Bible. Do your own research. And although all of that is very fascinating, keep in mind these are just correlations and hypotheses and not clinically proven treatments for depression, a substitute for a sleeping pill, or a guaranteed way to prevent pregnancy complications. So, to provide a balanced perspective is important. So we will now discuss the risks as it is a matter of health and safety. Know that this action can also pose significant dangers under the wrong circumstances, despite the potential benefits. The most immediate and common danger of swallowing semen is the practice of sexually transmitted diseases or infections. Seminal fluid is a primary vehicle for viral and bacterial pathogens. The delicate membranes of the mouth, throat, and digestive tract are highly effective at absorbing them. It is a dangerous myth that oral sex is safe sex. Many of the most serious STIs can be transmitted just as effectively through oral contact as they can through genital contact. They can be transmitted orally if there are any small cuts, sores, or inflammation in the mouth or gums, which are far more common than people realize. Herpes, both oral HSV1 and genital HSV2, can be easily transmitted and cause painful recurring sores. That's another danger. Another danger or major concern is the HPV virus, the human papilloma virus. I don't like that word. Anyway, that's another major concern. Certain strains can cause genital warts, while others are linked to a significant risk of developing oropharyngeal cancers. That is, cancers at the back of the throat, base of the tongue, and tonsils. Rates of these types of cancers have been rising, and HPV is the cause. Bacterial infections like chlamydia, gonorrhea, and syphilis can also infect the throat, leading to severe soreness, inflammation, and if left untreated, more serious systemic health problems. A crucial fact to note is many carriers of these infections are asymptomatic, which means that they don't show any signs or symptoms of having the infection. So you can be spreading it around to everyone and not even know it. Especially with the men. Men tend to be a little more asymptomatic, and it shows in the female. Another risk, aside from the infections that we talked about, is an allergic reaction. This is known as seminal plasma hypersensitivity. Although less common, the body can have an allergic response to specific proteins found in semen. Triggered by the immune system, mistakenly identifying these proteins as harmful invaders. When ingested, reactions can vary from mild, localized reactions like itching, swelling, redness, or hives in the mouth and throat. and the more severe systemic anaphylactic reactions. Anaphylaxis, if you don't know, is life-threatening and can cause difficulty breathing, a drop in blood pressure, and requires immediate medical attention. For those with this sensitivity, this practice is not just uncomfortable, but it is medically dangerous. Now, keep in mind that not all semen is the same. It largely depends on the male's overall health, diet, and habits. What a person consumes can end up in their bodily fluids, including semen. This includes things like alcohol, illicit drugs, or even high doses of certain prescription medications can potentially be present in seminal fluid. And ingesting these substances can introduce them into your own system, essentially making them a vector for toxins. One of the best ways to mitigate risks is to be open and honest with your partner. Something I always say. Not only about your sexual history, but health conditions and medications, and to get consistent, regular health screenings for the both of you. This will create a strong foundation for intimacy, trust, and feeling good in your relationship. So where does all this information leave us? It presents us with the potential benefits and risks associated with this intimate act. And how do you decide? Swallow or spit? The conclusion being that the act of swallowing semen is far more than just social taboos would have us believe. It is not merely a matter of taste or a simple gesture of intimacy. It's a complex biological exchange of chemicals, hormones, and genetic information that can affect everything from our emotional state to the fundamental workings of our immune system. This video is not meant to tell you what you should do or should not do when it comes to the subject of swallowing semen, or to advocate for or against it. It is simply to get rid of the same misinformation and myths surrounding this act and replace them with knowledge so that you can be informed and make the decisions that are right for you and your body and your relationship. So, on that note, do you spit or do you swallow? I guess the answer is up to you. That's all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something new in this video and something to talk about with your partner or future partners. And I will see you guys next time. Until then, love, hugs, and smoky kisses. Bye.